Yes.
Hey, Patty.
Hi.
Hi.
Been a while.
You must need a haircut, Mike.
You're right. You're right. Can you can see me, Patty? No, I can't see myself. So you can see me.
No, I can't. That's why I'm saying you must need a haircut.
Oh, okay. So how do I get you?
Okay.
Down at the bottom, there's a little, like a video thing that's red with a slash in it.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I would like to, first of all, thank everyone to join us today and take out this time. I know everyone's schedule is pretty busy, but your participation is really very important for us. So thank you for joining us. We would like to, I just would like to start with, does anyone have any general comments?
I do. I mean, I have a question about the geese. What's the story on the geese on Park Marina Drive these days?
Melissa, would you like to take that?
I don't think I have an answer. Is there just a large number of the geese? Are they missing, or what is your question in relation to?
Well, there are often a large number that go back and forth on the, crossing the street, and
Yeah,
I was just interested.
from what I've seen, sometimes people, I believe that's a boat or a launching area, and so a lot of people will go and visit that area, and sometimes people feed the geese, and so that draws a greater number. I don't know anything else beyond that.
I don't foresee the geese deciding that they're moving anytime soon.
Yes.
Wildlife migration corridor, maybe.
Okay, so some housekeeping items. We definitely want to hear from all of you, but we would appreciate if you could raise your hand, and please don't raise your hand in your videos, because I won't be able to see all 33 of you at the same time to figure out who's raised their hand first. We do have toggle button to raise and lower your hands on the Zoom. So if you would like to speak, if you could do that, and it would be first come, first basis. So whoever raises their hand first, I would unmute that person, and they could let us know what suggestions or concerns they have. We would also appreciate if we could go through the concerns segment wise, so that it just helps us to reconcile all the comments, and we really don't want to miss anything. So we want to make sure that we have given you equal opportunity to talk about all the different segments that we have divided our corridor into. Any questions on the way the corridor is divided? Please let us know. I do see two raised hands. One is from Sue and the other one is Mike. So I would let Sue go first, because I do see she had raised her hand first. Could you please let us know what your concerns are?
Yes, I of the bike lanes that you talk about. I mean, I just think it's so important to have that buffered bike lane. I, for one, would never take a bicycle out on Park Marina. It would be taking my life in my own hands. It's too frightening. So I think having that buffered is so important. And then what you said, Ruta, about sidewalks, I have walked that whole area, and I have to go back and forth and just find a place to walk, especially in that central neighborhood section that you were talking about, whether it's just pretty much non-existent sidewalks. And then there's no so then if you see a sidewalk on the other side, there's no way that you can make a safe crossing that Park Marina, which can be kind of dangerous. Then and then the third thing I have is when you show Park Marina where it comes down into in the southern gateway. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Oh yeah, I can. Where it hooks up to, I believe it is Athens, I guess. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Are you?
So it goes under the Cypress Street Bridge,
Mhm.
and then it hooks to Athens. And this area, when you make a left turn there, this is my neighborhood back here along the river, that is so dangerous. People come off
Yeah.
west, they come off Cypress, they're making a turn, and it would seem to me if you can't do a traffic calming circle there, I see that you've decided to do that in several places, which is good. At least have a traffic light there, because it is very dangerous, especially when people are coming out working from the city of Reading at 5 o'clock, and people are coming off Cypress, and you're coming off Park Marina, and you're trying to make a left-hand turn. It's just extremely dangerous. And I did talk, a year or two ago, with somebody with the city of Reading, and they said they were talking about doing something at that intersection, recognizing that's a very dangerous intersection. So, but I don't know whether that's under your plan or not.
No, definitely. We could definitely look into it, and anything that could make this corridor much safer than what we have today, we would definitely consider this, as long as it is falling in the study area.
Okay, yeah, your green thing ends right there, but it was right where that hand is. Yes. But the things that I really want to, I just really want to say about the sidewalks. I mean, I have walked that, and it's very dangerous. And then the buffered bikes.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. The next person is Mike.
Hi. Thank you to the City of Reading for getting you guys on board and doing the planning. I have some pretty strong professional and personal views of this area. So I'm going to, I don't know if I'm taking it in another direction, but it's going to be a larger picture than what you presented. And I, by way of background, I grew up in Southern California, San Diego, beach areas, lived up in Portland. So I've seen a few of the well-planned and not so well-planned areas that are next to ocean in San Diego or next to rivers. I think the best plan is in Portland, and it's used to be called Front Street or Tom McCall Street, but it's right along the Willamette River. It's very similar to ours, probably in length along the river. And so if you've been up there to downtown Portland where the Marriott is, you'll know what I'm talking about in terms of improvements. I think there should be a bike lane. I don't think anybody would be opposed to that. I think the bike lane, though, should not be along the street. I think it should be along the river. And I think it should be extra wide for bikes and joggers and walkers. And I said, as I'm looking at a bigger picture, let me tell you why I think that. If we put a nice wide sidewalk or bike lane, whatever it is, along the curb on the west or east side of Park Marina. No, I guess, see, you're going, along the east side of Park Marina. I don't know how you can do that without knowing what's going to go between the river and the bike lane, or the river and the sidewalk. And if you just go down to the southern end of the Park Marina area, you'll see some buildings. And what happened there, I presume, or I actually know, is they were purchased by some well-intentioned doctors or developers or people, and they went to the architect and said, now I would like to maximize my opportunity for revenue. It's the same thing I do or anybody else would do. So what you have there are two buildings that completely and utterly block the river. They're beautiful buildings, no problem there. But the walkway along the river was almost an afterthought. It's, you know, you feel like when you're walking behind the buildings, that is between the buildings and the river, you're intruding on their backyard because it's only a matter of feet between the building and the water. And that's doing it backwards, I think. If we have a beautiful walkway and, you know, like you've planned, and I think we could very well have the same effect as those two buildings of nothing but concrete, you know, going from the north to the south end of Park Marina. So I really think we need to think not just long-term, but larger area. As far as the west side of Park Marina, I would be in favor of a wider sidewalk there and rezoning all the single family to commercial and letting the private sector, if the city doesn't get involved, over time purchase those properties. And I think that's where the development, the commercial development should occur. I think 2 lanes going in each direction with a median would be right for that road. But I take the walking path, bike path, that I take it along the river so the whole community and our visitors can enjoy the river. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to even see the river unless they get up high on, you know, one of the freeways or something. But there's no place in, this is an exaggeration, there's almost no place in town where you can enjoy the river, walk, ride your bike, feel safe, and be able to walk to various commercial establishments. And unless we plan the area, I think like Portland did, I think we'll just have some nice improvements on the road, and it won't turn out the way any of us, well, at least I would envision it. It's almost as though what we're setting up with improvements is going to improve that area, call it 20% or 25%. I'm shooting for a destination area in our community, something that is really lively, that you can, you know, there is open space and people feel warm. You're not going to feel that way. It'll be safer and you'll be able to ride your bike. As Sue indicated, you know, it's not safe now, it'll be safe, but you're not,
Sure.
you know, we're developing the whole area. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay. All points well taken, Mike. Thank you so much. The next person is Jen.
Hi, Jen Pollum here. I live in the Garden Tract and have used that corridor regularly for boating purposes, and I have concerns. Or first of all, I like the traffic calming measures with the roundabouts or single lane roundabouts, but I do use that corridor with a trailer with a boat on the end and know that it's between the rodeo grounds at Sundial Bridge, you know, past Sundial Bridge Drive down to the Kutrus boat launch. There's numerous vehicles that are using it for that purpose too. So I would just like that to be considered in looking at the entry into the boat launch at the Kutrus Lake area. And then my other concern is the idea that it just stops at Sundial Bridge Drive and there's not a look at the continuation of going north. What is that going to look like? And then for bike and ped, obviously right now it's set up for automobile traffic. And then continuing north from there, or sorry, at that point it's really west, but continuing on Butte Street. So I would hope that at those critical intersections, there would be a consideration and discussion of what will the connection be to existing trails and services.
Good points, Jen. And city is actually looking into it, and that's the reason why even at the ramps by 44, we have made sure that we have that right connection to the bike paths and bike trails, and they have been thinking of how could they connect well with the downtown area. So all good points. We are thinking about it, but thanks for bringing it up. It's just kind of gives us a comfort level that we are all thinking along the same lines. So thank you.
Ruta, I just want to add on to that. So the AHSC project, that grant funding project that we've already acquired, does have a two-way cycle track that will likely be on the north side of Butte Avenue. And we recently, the city recently submitted an active transportation project proposal that would include a cycle track on over on the bridge on the west side. So this project is intended to be connected to that existing network. What we're hoping will be an existing network of cycle tracks.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. The next person is Ellen. If I do mispronounce your name, please correct me.
No, thank you. Yeah, Ellen Field. I also live in this area, in this neighborhood, the Garden Track, and spend a lot of time on foot, on bike, as well as driving, to from errands and stuff. I think the traffic calming on Park Marina is probably super critical. I see how fast people go through there. And as a pedestrian, I'll echo some of Sue's comments about the lack of the sidewalks. And what I am interested in as far as a pedestrian is, I did see some crosswalks on some of the plan views. And I'm wondering if those might be like somehow protected crosswalks, kind of like there is on Sequoia now by the school, Sequoia School. Since it looks like the plans right now are not looking at having a divided traffic on Park Marina. So, but instead of having one lane each way and possibly a center turn. So if there was some sort of protection for the crosswalks, I think that would be a great feature. I saw one of the alternatives showed traffic being possibly diverted around would that be the west side of Coutras Park, and keeping Park Marina for more for transit. And yeah, the one concern that brings to mind for me is because Park Marina, I get it, it's used by a lot of people for kind of shortcutting around downtown. I use it for that too. But I'm concerned that if the alternative that you're showing were followed through with, it's really gonna deter people from using Park Marina, and I suspect they would be looking for other ways to be shortcutting around downtown, perhaps like on Continental, which is already used quite a bit, or South, and taking kind of faster commuters through other parts of the neighborhood instead. And I think those are my two main comments. I think Jen covered well some of the concerns I had around the bike track. And at first I was thinking, why would it be brought to the west side of Park Marina for that northern segment? But I get it. You got to stay away from the Highway 44 on and off ramps. But I'm encouraged to hear what Melissa from the city was saying about really paying attention to how bike traffic on a separate bike track on the east side of Park Marina could somehow be integrated to continue north onto Butte, or over the overpass into Sundial. I think that's going to be super critical for bicyclists and pedestrians. So thank you.
Thank you. You bring some good points. And I just want to add, we just thought about this out of the box solution was the reason is we wanted to revitalize this area. And also, while during our discussions with city did mention that you do have farmers market. There are certain events which are more pedestrian bicycles friendly. And we wanted to kind of create that pocket right here where, people feel safe to walk around. If there is an opportunity to have farmers market in this area or other events, then we could do that. So that was the only reason we just thought that we'll bring it to the table and see what is your reaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. No, thank you.
As far as the crosswalks are concerned, yes, this is just conceptual. And as I mentioned before, that this it was kind of a blank canvas, and we had to give you some starting point to start thinking about. So we have not looked into a lot of details, but definitely the crosswalks would be protected if they are signalized. We can always looking into a protected intersection by giving pedestrian and bicycle space to just cross that intersection at the same time. So yes, that definitely could be considered through this design process. The next person I have is Peter.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Agree with, especially with Mike about what the area is going to look like in the future. I want to go even bigger. I think we need light rail there that could connect City Hall, downtown, on Park Marina, and all the way to the convention center. I think that would be a big thing for the future. We need to redevelop that whole area. Another one hitting it out of the park would be an amphitheater, probably in the area where the Circle building is now, and maybe a large hotel chain that would take over the apartments there too. So that's going to affect, if that ever got done, that would affect the work that you're doing now. As far as the bike lanes, I think it's you've got to have some buffer there. Otherwise, you're not going to get anybody else to use it. And I'm definitely interested to see how you're going to connect the bike lanes when they're going northbound on Park Marina and to get over the Sundial Bridge Drive, and how that's going to connect there, because I think that's huge. If you want to get more families and kids out there, I think that's huge. As far as traffic goes, I'm concerned, if you're going to cut the lanes down on Athens, on Park Marina from 4 to 2, it's going to have a huge effect on the traffic going through Athens. I think people are going to use that for a shortcut too. So, and also Washington Street too. So I'm not sure how that's going to, work out there. But I think I'm also looking at when you're traveling east on Butte to get on Highway 44, it looks like you're cutting down the left turn lane from 2 to 1. And that's already a huge problem now when you have 2 left turn lanes. So interested to see how that would work out too. I think that's it for me.
I just want to make sure that I do make sure that so you're saying the 1 left turn lane. Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, it was the when you're heading eastbound on Butte and you want to, and getting on Highway 44 eastbound, is that going to be cut from 2 left turn lanes to 1 left turn lane? Because are there 2 there now or just 1?
Just 1.
Okay, okay. Because that is a huge problem. I thought it was cutting down from 2 to 1. So yeah, strike that comment.
Okay. Thank you. The next person is Brian. Is that correct? Because your name, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Bryson. I live in the area and not in this neighborhood, but cycle around it a lot and definitely have experienced the probably closer to class 4 in some of the spots. So I guess starting from the south, that all seems good. That seems to be the stuff that has been most recently done. So there are some buffers, and then moving up through there, just addressing, I guess, Park Marina as a whole. I think the buffers, as Sue mentioned earlier, will be super important. I think the road diet will help a lot, getting the traffic speeds down, but I think the buffers are crucial. And I would almost even err on the side of, if you can't put a buffered lane in, drop the lane off the road and just increase the cycle track or increase the kind of parking protected sort of stuff. It's interesting on the kind of in the, I guess, the residential section along the west side of Park Marina. I do like the parking protected. I think that's a great option. I mean, it's a protected lane when there are cars there, and you got extra buffer even if there aren't cars there. But even like on that image there, it's interesting, or it seems like it would be interesting to see, because there are all those driveways, how that kind of parking protection gets broken up. But I really like the idea, and I think even along that section of Kutras Park, where you thought about an option for reducing it to transit only. Yeah, I think parking protected there really would make a lot of sense if it wasn't reduced to transit only. I think it increases, where there is that constriction between the river and the road there, and there is a lot of surface parking. And I guess also backing up even farther, I think the development or what does get developed along Park Marina would obviously have a big impact on sort of the effectiveness of all these different things. A lot of surface parking, it seems like now, but if there is more development, maybe that parking looks pretty small all of a sudden, and so there's all that. And then moving up to the north end, I think the solution for crossing back over the road, while it's maybe not as fluid, so the cycle track is then on the south side of Park Marina there. It does make a lot of sense for skipping the highway interchanges and all that sort of stuff. And I would almost say, I know part of that section, I think you allowed to have parking on the north side of the road there, and there's no bike lane. And along part of that where the kind of gas station is, I would almost say that because currently it seems like there's so much parking there, maybe you don't even need the parking along the side of the road there. I know you mentioned it was an addition to what the existing conditions are. And if you can, not use that parking and just increase the size of the cycle track or whatever, I think that could be good also. But yeah, otherwise, I like the connections back over to Butte Street and crossing over the bridge. Yeah, and excited to see how this progresses. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Great points. The next person is Patty. Is that right? Am I saying it correct? Okay.
Yes, thank you. I just want to add support for the idea of moving the pedestrian to the river side of Park Marina Drive. It's, I think it would dramatically enhance the ability to just use that area in different ways. And I'd never thought about making the houses along that street commercially zoned, but it sounds like it could be charming. I mean, they're all things that I've seen in other towns done in those ways and take it just a little beyond the utilitarian of what's been proposed here tonight. And then another thing I'd just like to mention is that, a lot of cities have like skywalk kind of things going across the highway for, instead of being for automobiles, just for bicyclists and pedestrians. And that they also, I mean, they just add a different element and something we don't have anywhere else in town that I'm aware of. So just something to throw out there to think about.
Thank you. Hey, Spence, I know you are taking all the notes. Could you categorize them into different modes? And if it's okay with you, if you could give a gist of it towards the end, because I'm listening and talking, and I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, of course. I've got them. The notes are being taken down just by participant right now, but I can try to break them out into categories.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So you're next again. Let me unmute you. Can you unmute yourself? Oh,
Yes. I just wanted to underscore how important what Mike and Patty are saying, that is this going to be, it's just seems like this is a finger in the dike sort of thing, as opposed to a grand master plan. And since our river is one of our most wonderful assets in Reading, why are we not why are we not enhancing that area and making a river walk? And then the river walk then can spill over into these farmers markets and that sort of thing, so that you would get there by way of walking along a river walk. Now, I know that the problem is that a lot of that property is private property, and the city can't just come in and say, okay, we're going to put a walkway through here. But maybe somebody from the city could answer that question. How is that possible? I mean, let's just say we could put a river walk. What would you have to do to get that to happen?
I could respond to that. So going back to the City of Reading's active transportation plan, we realized the value of this corridor, not only for active transportation purposes, but the special place it has in the community to really revitalize the community. And so we have, again, very high level preliminary planning stage, anticipated a shared use path on the riverside to really take advantage of that resource with parallel facilities in street. And so that's what we are attempting to show in this instance. And again, the biggest constraint that we have in terms of planning, and just want to emphasize that this study is mostly transportation, because that is our right of way. That's where we have the ability to reconfigure things. So we want to lay a good foundation that can serve as something to build off of, so should the land uses adjacent to these corridors change. And so again, our focus is to focus on that multimodal corridor connections. And again, that is the intent with the shared use path on the east side, is to really stimulate that walking and biking activity on that side. Did I answer your question, or did you want?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the constraints, and if that's your grandmaster or your long range plan, and you're trying to integrate these two issues together, I can understand your dilemma.
And this isn't the end all plan for this corridor. I think this plan is being completed with the knowledge. I think the last this information is on the website. I believe the specific plan was last implemented in the 80s. I could be wrong, but just a general acknowledgement that there is an opportunity to look at both the transportation and the land use aspects associated with this corridor. So again, this is kind of the transportation component, and then in the future, potentially the City of Reading Development Services Department will look at the land use. But this is just one component that is needed. And from the transportation perspective, this would probably be the first study that is needed, that kind of alternatives analysis to narrow down what the community wants before we would submit something like an active transportation grant project for state funding. So it's all just kind of just getting the ball moving in terms of re-engaging the planning process.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So the next person is Eliha Simmons.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to start off by reiterating what Mike and Sue and others have said about this infrastructure, definitely supporting the future of Park Marina and kind of maybe pushing towards, the land use for a river walk like San Antonio, Texas, or Portland, Oregon. I think what we do now, right, this is not going to be something that's redone in another 5 to 10 years. So taking Park Marina from 2 lanes on either side to 1, right, is obviously going to lower your traffic. And as somebody who lives on Park Marina, there's cars going by all the time, and they are going by fast. So I like the idea of the roundabouts to kind of slow it down, but also at the same time, typically at 5 o'clock, backing up from the south end of Park Marina to 44, everybody's making a right to get onto 44. So that roundabout that you have at Athens, you have cars, if you make it a single lane and you can only turn right, and you get rid of that 2-lane that going forward to Butte, that's no longer there. You're going to limit traffic all the way back down through the roundabout. Probably, I don't even know how much further it would go, especially if you're taking it from 2 lanes to 1 lane. At commuting hours, that becomes, it does become backed up in Park Marina, that section. So I'm curious how your traffic plan would further impact that by reducing a lane.
So north of Athens, we are going and we are going back to the existing. So we are not planning on taking away any lanes in this area. We are going back and conforming to the existing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, but is that roundabout is regardless a 1-lane roundabout, right? Single lane going
at
around.
this point, it's very conceptual. We've
Yes,
not even thought
sure.
about 1 or 2 lanes, but
Okay.
that is the kind of input we want from
Okay,
you.
now
that if we
to
have
further
look into-
clarify, prior to that roundabout, so south of that roundabout, that's single lane going northbound.
Yes.
So that's my point, is the current traffic as is for Park Marina backs up far beyond that point on the street during typical commuting hours at 5 o'clock for 30 minutes roughly. So that's just something to consider. And of course, I mean, a traffic study and figure out the impacts and why people are choosing to use Park Marina as a bypass and where they would go otherwise is an important thing to look at, in my opinion.
Okay, so rerouting of traffic in case that happens. Okay, good.
Yeah, and then outside of that, I think, what else? That was just my main concern. Where else is there a roundabout? I forgot. You have one at Athens, and then there's another down at Olympus.
Village and Olympus.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is okay. Yeah, definitely slowing down the traffic is a great idea. And then of course, having the buffer zones if you can, and making it, there's a lot of, I mean, Park Marina is a massive street, and being able to utilize it more, make it multimodal is a fantastic addition. I think for the residential sections, a lot of people do use the side parking.
Mm-hmm.
The development here is very old, 1950s, 1960s, single car garage, small driveways. Typically right now, I mean, this is all being redone. All the curbs are rolled. It's a pain in the butt to come into if you have anything that's not a truck or an SUV. So people definitely use the side parking for that section. So I think that's important, at least for the residential area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got.
Thank you. The next person in line is Jen. If you can unmute, yeah.
Yep, I did. Thank you. This is a really great conversation. I also want to reiterate that, of course, the Riverwalk idea and a continuation of our recreation more than transportation style trail along the river is a great idea. And thanks everyone for supporting that. Regarding what's actually in the road right-of-way, I was thinking about like what you've got going on with the east side being a two-way cycle track. And really, we've got commercial on both sides of the street. Mike even suggested allowing for commercial in that central neighborhood section. So we, if ideas like that went down when we look more at the land use side of it, then you're going to have commercial on both sides of the street. So to have a two-way cycle track, you're creating like a recreational style trail in the road right of way. And I was just thinking, why not do single way, one on each side cycle tracks and less of the buffered bike lane, because you've got buffered bike lanes, which allows for more of a fearless rider on the road. And then you've got this more like a rec trail where the strollers and dog walkers and kids on bikes are going to be. But since you've got commercial on both sides of the street, it seems like you should have just wider cycle tracks, but not cycle tracks, but trails basically that have those lines that say, slower traffic to the right, faster traffic to the left. So hopefully cyclists could be using the faster side of those on both sides of the road. And then the people that are fearless, the bikers that are fearless, they would have still the use of the vehicular right of way. So it's just getting away from that idea of a recreational style trail on the east, mostly on the east side in the commercial zone, and moving more to like accessing commercial on both sides of the street, and allowing for all types of users, bike users, I guess, in both of those.
So Jen, we are proposing to have a multi-use trail on the east side. And
Two-way, right?
Yes, a two-way.
So-
Because, oh, go ahead, sorry.
So yeah, I'm just thinking like that's a recreational style trail,
Mhm.
you know, and if, you know, you've got lots of commercial on the west side too, restaurants, grocery stores on the south side, a movie theater in the middle. You know, there's quite a bit. I think Social Security, you know, there's restaurants over in that area closest to Cyprus. So like to have kind of pushing kind of all the lower stress users to that east side, you're setting up, you know, kind of that barrier immediately of having to cross Park Marina to get to the west side.
And Jen, that is again our intent in providing those parallel facilities of having the fearless riders in street, or those that feel more comfortable and confident, and then having the shared use path on for more recreational users, really taking advantage of that waterfront. And that again is shown in this graphic in the central neighborhood for option 1. But the challenge again is working with the existing right of way. And if you go with option 1, you do lose that the parking for the residents, under option 2. So it's again this balance of how do you plan for the future but accommodate future opportunities as well. So this is why we're receiving input. So thank you.
We do have Mike. Could you unmute yourself?
To answer Sue's question of how do you do it, my answer would be a little bit different than yours. Sue, and for that matter, everybody else, what we're talking about when we talk about what we'd like to see on Park Marina has been done over and over and over again. We're not inventing some new procedure. And in fact, the plan that I outlined is pretty basic. Again, I invite you to go up to Portland, walk down Front Street.
Hey, Mike, sorry, I would have to interrupt in between, but we just have 45 seconds and we have to leave the breakout room and go back to the main room. So I just wanted to let you know. And now it's 30 seconds.
Sue, my answer would be eminent domain if the council has the will to do it. And the other way is reverse condemnation. And that's where you plan out the property and then pay the owner of the property for the development rights you took away. So if we wanted all a park there, he would say, well, you took away my development rights. Yes, we did. And we'll pay you for that. So we'll pay you the value of that so you don't lose money.
Thank you. Sorry.
Hi there. I got cut off.
I guess we just forced to be back.
Yeah, we were forced to be back.
Sorry, I hope you saw my broadcast message.
I did.
We
I
did.
did.
We did.
It's hard to gauge, and I was in mid-sentence, so we got broken up. But that's good. First of all, I think we had a great discussion in group 1. Hopefully, let's see, are most people still in the meeting? It looks like there's 80 folks still here. So this is, what a great meeting. I want to share is it appropriate now, Cliff, for me to share my screen and go to the Google Doc? Okay.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Let's see if I can make this work. Hold on. Okay, then I can go here and then I'll go like that. And we'll start with group 1 discussion. Michelle took these notes. We had lots of folks in the room. Should I go ahead and summarize? I forgot. Ruta, let's see. I guess I could just go ahead and summarize this. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay. So we were fortunate to have Cameron, who is associated with the Koutras family, who was talking about future development plans for the area along the river that the family owns, and said that they are developing plans now for that area, and it's exciting to think about some transformation there. There was some thinking or some, I guess, encouragement that the planning that we do for the street should be flexible to accommodate new land uses in the future. It's not determined what those land uses will be or what the development actually will be like. And it won't be known probably for some little while because of the situation we're in with the COVID and so forth. So, but Cameron was there and talked about future development, and other people supported the idea of new development along Park Marina. So I think that that was generally positive. And the takeaway is that it should be a creative and flexible solution. There was a question. Oh, good, Michelle. She put the question about the maintenance of the corridor into this general segment here up front, and the corridor will be maintained by the city. For the most part, the concepts are within the right-of-way, the existing city right-of-way of Park Marina Drive. So the city would be maintaining that. And then regarding environmental review, there would need to be some aspect of environmental review done before the project gets approved, but we're not at that point yet. Regarding segments, there was a question in segment 1, which is the northern segment, about pedestrian bridges, and we heard both, pros and cons for the idea of pedestrian bridges, both across 44 and potentially across Park Marina. Cost is an issue clearly on that aspect. Roundabouts, there was a lot of questions and comments about roundabouts, and there was a lot of support for roundabouts, but there were some cautions. One of the cautions is that there's a lot of backup at the current overcrossing or on-ramps onto 44 at the north end. And want to make sure that the congestion or the backup of the cars doesn't extend all the way down into the roundabout there. We were fortunate to have Janice from the shopping center talking about some of her experience there, and giving her feedback on the project. So that was good. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, so there's a comment about if there was a safe walking path and bike path that many people would choose to go to events walking and biking rather than taking cars. So that might alleviate some of the congestion in the northern area. Okay, for segment 2, which includes Koutras Park and the potential diversion there, there are pros and cons of that, and we did hear, though, primarily support for the idea of looking into that idea of a diversion. And kind of coming back to Cameron's point, he made a point that the Koutras family would like to see the diversion explored for several reasons, including that it may help with their development plans. So that was thought of as a positive thing, the diversion. There was a comment, a specific comment about the roundabout that is shown in the central segment to make sure that larger vehicles don't go up Village Drive by mistake. That is a residential access drive. And if a big RV or some semi happened to make that turn at the roundabout by mistake, it would probably be unsolvable. So there is some concern about that. Let's see.
Bruce's time check is 5:55.
Okay. I'll just mention that there were some concerns about the road diet from several people, a couple at least in our group, going from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. Yeah, the corridor is doing well right now and is fine, and there's probably too much space there. But after COVID and potentially with new development, that needs to be looked at carefully. So there's a hope, at least among a couple people, that that this project would be able to analyze, the future post-COVID scene to make sure that a road diet, the removal of traffic lanes would actually work. And with that, there's a bunch of stuff from the chat room that I won't mention, but I'll hand it off to group 2, and I will show the group discussion here on my screen. But let's see, who's going to do group 2? Ruta?
I can kind of wrap it up a little bit. So Cliff, just to help you out, there is a lot of things that I could echo to what Bruce just mentioned. First of all, related to accommodating future land use, so having alternatives that are more flexible and can be kind of accommodated in future. With respect to land use changes, being creative and flexible. Yes, we did talk about pedestrian bridges. That could be one of the alternatives for pedestrian as well as bicyclists. There was an overall support for roundabout, but again, echoing the same concern that Bruce brought up is what happens to the traffic at Athens when you drop a lane, or just to be a little bit more careful with traffic perspective, that's all taken into consideration before we make that change. Overall, people were kind of looking forward to repurposing the cross section because they do realize that it's a pretty wide cross section and that could be repurposed so that other modes of transportation could use this facility and kind of make it more walkable and bikeable for other modes. Also, there was discussion of converting some of the residential use to commercial if possible, as a land use change. The overall,
what segment, Ruta, what segment was that comment?
Central.
Segment, okay.
Yeah. And there was a discussion on the 2 buildings that we have that could also be kind of rethought about and relooked into. Don't want to get into too much of detail regarding that, but it's all documented in our notes. Also, they did kind of gave city kind of like they do appreciate that city is looking into connecting the bike lanes through Sundial Bridge and Butte and taking it to the downtown area. So it was brought up, and Melissa kind of said that yes, there is an ATB plan and we are already looking into it, and this plan is also including that and making sure that that connection is prominent. And I think, yeah, they just want to, everyone likes the idea of roundabouts, but everyone still wants to be careful of, making sure that it's designed well and we do not end up into some design issues.
Yeah.
Think,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rita. I'm looking through these notes. These are great notes. It seems like it will be beneficial to post the notes on the webpage after the meeting. I think we might have to clean up spelling and stuff, but we'll make an effort to do that. Ruta, I just wanted to mention, I forgot to mention a comment that somebody made that I thought was important, which is that the roundabouts and any of the proposed improvements should accommodate ADA accessibility, and that even to go beyond normal ADA and enhanced accessibility would be a good goal for this project. And people with vision disability was actually mentioned as well. So I thought that was a good comment. Can we go on to group 3?
Yes. So it's
Ian?
Ian here with group 3. In the interest of time, just to highlight the ones I feel critical. So,
Ian,
yes.
Ian, this is Shelby. I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump in just real quick. I should have mentioned this earlier, but it's kind of late development in our city process, but better late than never. I mentioned this to room 3 that I was in. I know we have these improvements that we've kind of have proposed for Park Marina Drive, but we had also kind of talked about up in the air the possibility of having more bike and ped facility type things, maybe cut through the neighborhood itself, not to entice vehicular traffic, but just to make it more attractive for bicyclists and pedestrians. And then also, as well as the neighborhood, ACID canals right there. Typically in the past, they have not been amenable to improvements, but I was able to speak with them in the last just a couple weeks here, and they said they would not be opposed to possibly having a path through there for at least a portion of it, or possibly all the way down to South Street. So I know we're kind of at the end of our workshop here, but I just wanted to throw that out there so people know. And then if you have comments about that or concerns or any thoughts, just feel free to email me or respond to one of us. So I'm sorry, Ian, I just wanted to.
Oh, no problem.
And Shelby, sorry, Ian, this is Bruce, but I'll just reiterate that even with a canal improvement, which would be parallel to Park Marina, but some distance away from it, we would still also be interested in the improvements on Park Marina Drive as well,
Yes.
right? So that would be part of, so this proceeds no matter what, this Park Marina Drive, but there's this other option potentially for some even better, and separate improvements. Great. Okay, thanks, Shelby. Ian.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very quickly in our room. So most of the people do like the idea of roundabouts, and however, the speed has to be lower, and whatever street parking is available right now should be retained. And there's a question about there's a position for roundabouts. Roundabouts will be really dangerous for bicycles and pedestrians. The traffic calming measures are well needed and they look great. There's a very creative idea of that we should have really nice and modern exercise stations along the waterfront for leisure and recreational purposes. You scroll down. Right. There's a question raised about is this project planning for flood control, and simply in short, an answer is no. We're only talking about transportation within the public right-of-way area. Further down, please.
Oh, you have a lot of notes.
Wow. Yes, I try to digest it. Okay, is this the time to bring up that the sidewalks should be really wide on the water side? And our answer is that we are taking all modes of transportation into consideration as we plan this out. So it is a good timing to mention that. What about a runabout at South and Park Marina in addition to other two mentioned? When a real property be lost by homeowners? The answer is no. Again, we're only working within the public right away. Anything else?
Although, Ruta, can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, if it is a roundabout, is there any determination, or would that determination be made in our next steps?
Yeah, that determination would be made in the next steps.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, since you gave me an opportunity to speak, they have, I did miss one main comment, is also they wanted us to look into at the intersection of Athens and Park Marina Drive, especially people making that left turn. So if we could do something at that intersection through this project, that would be highly appreciated.
Okay.
I think that was brought up in our group too.
Athens and Park.
Athens has been used as a shortcut or alternative route.
Oh, okay.
So yes.
Okay.
And,
Keep going.
and further down, canal. Yes, there are positive and negative feelings about constructing the canal path for ped and bike. And
okay,
that's pretty much it, I believe. Regarding the heavy flow of traffic, yes, there's a big concern regarding the Highway 44 on Sundale Bridge, the backups of vehicles, and the team will definitely look into that. And that's pretty much it. That's just the abstract of many, I'll say.
Wow, those are intense notes. Okay, thank you for that. I guess we've run over 5 minutes. If you will all apologize that we're running a little bit over, but what I can do next is just go back to my show and just go to the next steps slide and one other thing. So hopefully you all can see this, which says that there is an opportunity to take a survey online. So if you want to go to the website and I tell you what we could do, we could email out a email to all the participants that signed up for this workshop and put these links in the email so you could click on the link. And then it will take you to a map survey where you could put down your ideas or if there's any issues that you know about. And we would love to get even more information from you there. There's also a questionnaire that you could link onto. And everything will be on the web page. So, and that is a Public Works web page that's attached to the Public Works website. And again, this web page link will be one that we can provide to you. You can jot it down, or we could provide to you in a follow-up email that we can send to the participants of this meeting. And you would be welcome to send that along to any neighbors or friends that you think should have it. So with that, our next steps will be to incorporate input and develop and refine alternatives. And then we'll be coming back to you. We'll notify in a similar fashion for a second workshop to discuss alternatives at that time. And we hope everyone will be able to come back and see what we've done and provide additional input at that time. And this is the project webpage here. So with that, I think I am done. We are done. And thank you all very much for participating tonight. This is a very fruitful workshop. Really appreciate the input. And thanks to all the staff and folks that helped run it. It seems like it went pretty smoothly. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll sign off now.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.